It's getting scary out there, guys. Silver and gold investors, scary in a bad way, but also scary in a good way. And I'm going to give you the reasons why in this video live stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the basement. Please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Super chat, super thanks. Always super appreciated. But I'll start with one very scary statistic, and then we'll move into the election, BRICS pay, short squeeze in silver. We got a lot to cover. But did you know last night I was digging in a little bit? In 1971, an ounce of gold cost $40. Think about that. $40 for a whole ounce of gold. As a side note, isn't it pretty scary that right now an ounce of silver is not too far away from being $40? But nonetheless, in 1971, you could have bought all the gold ounces you wanted for $40 per ounce, in theory. Today, that same ounce of gold costs $2,720. So that $40 that in 1971, were you around in 1971? I was. That same $40 that would have bought you a full ounce of gold now buys you like 1.5% of an ounce of gold. It is absolutely stunning. Okay, that is a scary statistic. It's early. Nonetheless, right, that shows how the value of the dollar has just been completely obliterated when measured in gold, right? Gold is, it's not gold going up in value. No. It's the dollar going down in value. I digress. We're going to talk more about that later, but that's a scary. It's no wonder my parents tell me, right, that my first word, I was born in 1970. I remember $40 gold quite clearly as a youngster, being 1 year old. And my first words were, buy gold, Mom and Dad, buy gold. Next week, all right, well, tonight's going to be wild. We got some wild things coming up. Next week will be wild, but tonight could be wild. Okay, be prepared when the markets open this evening. I could be wrong, but I have a strong inclination that we're going to see a big move either up or down in the precious metals prices, in particular for silver. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 50-cent or almost even $1 move in the price of silver in particular. They're going to give it all they got this coming week to tamp down the price. So I want you to be prepared, right? We know the big long-term thesis. We know what's intact, but we've also got a crazy week coming up. Take a look at this. They're rolling out the clown show. It's time for the Fed to go out there and talk. And why is that important to us? That they're rolling out all the Fed speakers this week, because they can have a big impact in the short term on the gold price and silver price. So this is the economic calendar for the upcoming week. Just want to demonstrate to you how important it is to keep an eye on these Fed speakers. Monday, we have Dallas Fed speaker. Also Monday, Kansas City Fed president speaks. And, woo, it's trifecta Monday. San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly. Woo, be prepared, guys, because, you know, unfortunately, while the Fed has lost a lot of its potency in terms of its ability to impact world markets, and in particular silver and gold, they still do have an impact. And if they want to, you know, it's a war right now between precious metals and the dollar. And these are the generals, right? Jerome Powell is the, I don't know, right? The head. And these are his generals that are coming out. 3 of them on Monday. Tuesday, Philly Fed speaker Patrick Harker. Wednesday, Michelle Bowman speaks. I don't know where she's from. Thursday, Cleveland Fed. They're doing the whole country. Okay, so be prepared for that. Probably one of the biggest news stories of the week coming up will be initial jobless claims, right? That was came in higher than expected a couple weeks ago. That's what people are really keeping an eye on. Now, of course, as we're heading into this election, and we're going to talk more about that here in a little while, right? There's a big inclination for the government to, is it okay to say not maybe be so honest about what's going on that we could get great jobs numbers, which could present a challenge for the gold and silver market. But that's what's going on this week. It's important we keep an eye and realize these Fed speakers, one after another, right? They're like a bunch of crows. You know, when you get a flock of crows on a power line, they're squawking. And you know what? It is a fact. They don't have as much power as they had, let's say, 2 years ago. And in particular, 5 or 10 years ago. The world has changed. We've covered that ad nauseum. Boy, the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, right? One of the leading markets traditionally, although that's changing also for silver and gold. They had their big convention down in Miami. And Niels, I guess, from Kitco was there. He put out an article with some very interesting insights, some observations that he had from the LBMA conference. Gold has room to run as sentiment is optimistic, but not euphoric. And why is that important? And why is that a good thing for us as silver and gold investors, that we indeed are not euphoric right now, or the investors are not euphoric? He another great piece of work by Niels. He said gold and silver could be in one of the quietest bull markets in history. Make sure I got you on there, which we do. At least that was part of the sentiment. Here, wait a minute. Top analysts don't fully understand how prices have rallied above $2,700 for gold and $33 for silver, respectively. They're all scratching their head, the top analysts. Boy, isn't it funny? We kind of called that back 6 months ago, basement dwellers. Nonetheless, at least that was part of the sentiment during the London Bullion Market Association's 2024 Precious Metals Conference in Florida. Why analysts may not fully comprehend, this is the green part here, who exactly is buying gold at record highs. The last thing they are going to do is look a gift horse in the mouth. At this point, investors are simply happy to ride the rally as long as it lasts, and it could still climb much higher. We looked at this yesterday, guys. The gold and silver price, this is not a spike move up. This has been a long-term, year-long type process where these prices have gone up and up and up and just shown incredible resilience, right? The problem with a spike move, which we could get, but the problem with a spike move is when a spike up happens, usually there's a fast fall immediately after. And again, we have not had a spike move up. In red, the best way to describe sentiment at the LBMA was optimistic, but not overly bullish. And again, that's a good thing. You want some skepticism about this. That helps feed, right? They say that big rallies climb a wall of worry. And there are people out there who are worried about the gold price, who are worried about the silver price. I only heard one estimate for prices for gold to push above 3,000 before the end of the year. The delegates themselves, they did a poll, see prices rising to about $2,941 an ounce by this time next year. Hey, we'd be cool with that. That represents a 10% rally. At first glance, this may not sound particularly encouraging. However, it demonstrates that even at record highs, this market still has plenty of upside potential. I'd be more concerned if we were in a manic, euphoric stage, as that traditionally signals a market top. And think about that, guys, and think about what Niels just said, right? Sure, we all want to be manic, euphoric. It's fun. The problem is it doesn't last. I don't know about you, but even my moods, every once in a while I get in a really super happy mood. And I'm like, whoo, I wish this would stay this way. It never lasts, right? That's the way markets, that's the way life goes. There's ups and downs. And what he's saying is so true. If everybody the good news is everybody and their brother's not yet talking about silver and gold. When all the ducks are quacking, when the shoe shine boy, when the Uber driver is talking to you about gold and silver, that might be a time to think about converting some of your physical metal that had gone up in real value significantly into another asset class, into some other real asset. That does not, in my opinion, although I don't give financial advice, that does not include unicorn fart dust, paper, US dollars. But there are things you can go into: real estate, farmland, other things like that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. When Niels is saying we are in a euphoric stage. At the same time, delegates are caught. Oh, I forgot to tell you, they talk about silver specifically at the end of this article. Nobody's looking to the downside. So nobody, and that's a little scary. Nobody's talking about the gold price going down right now. So that does, that I'll be honest with you, that concerns me a little bit. Then they talk about the election, a Trump administration viewed whether as good or bad, not a political show, represents the biggest risk as the candidates' positions on foreign policy are unpredictable. We're going to talk more about what's going to happen after the election with silver and gold a little bit later in the show. Meanwhile, analysts also mentioned that if Kamala Harris wins the election, geopolitical uncertainty will remain elevated, as it's unlikely that peace will break out around the world. And that's nothing to laugh about. Just the fact remains that our most recent 4-year Democratic reign has also coincided with some major world wars or world conflicts breaking out. They also noted, this is interesting, that neither candidate has promoted any policies to address the nation's growing national debt, which has now surpassed $35 trillion. Even economists at the International Monetary Fund, that esteemed organization, the IMF, are sounding alarms about the rising global debt. We'll get more into that later. Let's get to the silver part. Okay, silver investors, time for your silver smile to come on that pretty face of yours. While we focus heavily on gold, let's not forget about silver. Delegates at the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, expect the white metal, that would be silver, to outperform gold in 2025. These were the delegates at the LBMA conference. The quote of the conference belongs to Matthew Watson, founder and president of Precious Metals Commodity Management, who said this about silver. And I'm quoting Matthew here. Matt, I don't see any fundamental downside to silver. That's our mic drop. That comes straight from the LBMA conference. We need to pay attention to what they're saying, but there's even more, because Niels forgot to add this part into his article about silver. We touched on this a few days ago, but this is exciting because we go out to Yahoo Finance, watch their little video. Gold industry sees bullion surging 10% in a year to record high. That was what we just talked about. So this was Bloomberg's report. Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, mainstream media. Make sure I got you on there, which I do. Talking about gold, but what did they say about silver? We covered all this already, okay? I'm not cheating you here, guys, but we just talked about this, all this stuff, okay? Now, well, here, let me go here. Let's go up here because this is okay. So they did a survey, right? And they talk about the same thing that Niels just talked about to get this price prediction. Where'd it go? Hold on here. Okay, here we go. So it says in yellow, silver. This is from the LBMA conference. Silver will gain more than 40% in the coming year to reach $45 an ounce, according to the survey. And that's the survey that they did of these delegates at the LBMA conference, which was just, I believe, last week. Last week. This is the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. These are the delegates there, right? These people have no interest in being uber bulls. They are saying their prediction for silver next year right now, $45 an ounce. So I ask you, do you think in 1 year, I want you to go into the time machine with me for a second, 1 year from now, are you okay with us sitting here talking about $45 per ounce? I think you are. I think I am as well. And I believe that will be the case. Now, we could be wrong. These delegates from the LBMA could be wrong. Maybe it'll be 55. Maybe it'll be 65. Maybe it'll be 75, but it could be 35. And even if it is 35, that's okay. These fundamental support factors for the metals prices are in place and will continue, whether it takes a year, 5 years, or 10 years, will continue to support the price. You know what else will support the price? We got to talk about it one more time, because how about a short squeeze? Remember silver short, silver squeeze? What about a short squeeze? All kinds of reporting, excuse me, is going on right now. Let's have a drink of coffee, basement dwellers, about a short squeeze in silver. It's just starting to get some feet to it. We're going to talk about that here in just one second. Okay, Chris Marcus from Arcadia talked about, I think it was a 278 million. That was from the COT report. But there's other more wild estimates in terms of what's going on. This came from the Jerusalem Post, and I believe they were pulling this information from the Silver Academy. But it says silver prices surge. Banks face billion-dollar losses. Silver price explodes 6% on Friday, above $33.60 per ounce. 5 major U.S. banks face billions in losses from massive short positions. I just want to go through this quickly, just these 3 paragraphs in this data. Silver soared, breaking through the crucial $33.60 mark and sending shockwaves through global markets. The surge has put 5 major U.S. banks at risk of massive losses. These are the bullion banks, who I believe are JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and these other big banks that deal in silver and gold. Massive losses, potentially billions, due to their heavy short positions in the precious metal. According to data from the CFTC, the open interest in silver futures contracts has reached a staggering 141,000 contracts. Each of those contracts represent 5,000 ounces of silver. This translates to a total of 707 million ounces, nearly equivalent to a year's worth of global silver production. So they're saying, and that's what I said last night, some pretty, there's a pretty wide, I don't know if some people are calculating this as the net short position versus excuse me, just the total short position. But anyway, the Jerusalem Post is saying 707 million ounces. With silver surging by almost $2 per ounce, these short positions just in one day alone lost about $1.3 billion in value. The scale of the short position is particularly alarming, given that it is reportedly concentrated among just 5 U.S. banks. Industry analysts are questioning how such a small group of institutions could take up a short position. What happened here? Okay. Looks like I got attacked by a virus or something. Anyway, how did these 5 banks build up such a massive short position? Right? Well, think about this. They're sitting on that right now. They sold silver with the idea that at a later date, they could buy it back at a lower price. That's a short. That's what you do when you short something. You think the price is going to go down, so you sell it now at a higher price, thinking at some point in the future, you can buy it back at a lower price. So as they built these, they probably doubled down, increased their short position over time. Now, guys, we're at a point, okay? I don't care if it's 300 million, 600 million, or 700 million ounces that are short in the market. But every time the price of silver goes up by $1, $2, and we talked about this, the reason why it's so important to realize how massive these losses could be for these banks is because we are going to see days where silver goes up by $3 per ounce. I said this the other day. Excuse me, I had a scratchy throat this morning, that I don't really remember a $3 up day in silver, but I am predicting definitively right now, and I said this 2 days ago, so sometime over the next 363 days, we're going to have at least 2 days where we have a silver price that goes up by at least $3 per ounce. And that's the short squeeze. Right now, those banks, they may have sold silver at $28, $27, $25 per ounce. Sold it, thinking they'd buy it back in the future at a lower price. Now, as the price goes up and up and up, every time it goes up by $1, however many hundreds of millions of ounces they've sold short, that's how many, for each $1, hundreds of millions of dollars losses are being incurred by the bank. So at some point they get nervous, and when it gets to $34, $35, $36 per ounce, excuse me, they get nervous, and they think we need to buy it back now. So they come back in to buy 100 million ounces of silver, right? Nobody's selling at that point. And that, my friends, is the anatomy of a short squeeze. And that makes you very happy that you don't own paper silver, but you own this real silver. That's from Big Tim the Silver Shire. I love that this round for some reason. It really is really, you know, when you love a certain piece of silver. Anyway, what about gold? Let's go quickly. Here we go. Bank of America. Woo, sorry guys, I've got some allergies going on. Yahoo Finance, Benzinga, gold could reach $3,000 an ounce by 2025. That's Bank of America. That's not the important part. The important part is Bank of America telling the world that gold is now the ultimate perceived safe haven. I thought it was a pet rock. I thought it was, remember when Ben Bernanke, the previous before before Gomer or Jerome Powell and what's her name? I forget all the Fed governors' names. Anyway, he said gold was just a pet rock that the world central banks are picking up. But anyway, they said that basically gold remains, quote, here, let me highlight this for you. The ultimate perceived safe haven asset in today's macroeconomic environment, according to Bank of America's commodity analyst Michael Widmer, amid rising concerns over U.S. fiscal policies and their impact on treasury yields. He said basically that gold has become the ultimate safe haven asset. Think about that, right? It used to be the U.S. dollar. It used to be U.S. treasuries. Bank of America, mainstream U.S., the biggest recognizable name. Why is that so important? Because they're saying that gold, and when they say gold, silver benefits, is now the world's number one safe haven asset. It's going to get interesting. Now, this week, oh my gosh, let's not forget what's happening this week. It's here. The big BRICS meeting in Russia. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because everything to do with the BRICS has everything to do with gold and silver. We know their central banks are buying gold, and now Russia, silver, hand over fist. This is the week. It starts, I guess, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We could have major news coming out from the BRICS, but we already have this fascinating development about BRICS Pay. Have you heard about this? It's a new payment system, and it's basically for the BRICS countries to use, and it's basically like giving them absolute freedom from the Western financial system, right? From the SWIFT system, from the Visa MasterCard system. They're powerful throughout the world, okay? It's a BRICS payment system, and the details on this are stunning. But let's remember, even right now, the BRICS countries, they represent almost 40% of the world economy. And on top of that, they're growing fast. And on top of that, right? Why is that a big deal to you as a silver and gold investor? The reason why is because those countries on a national level, on a central banking level, love gold and silver. Okay. And the people love gold and silver. They're completely people in, we've talked about this so many times, but remember the people in Russia, India, China, I imagine Brazil as well. They love gold and silver. So not just do they have almost 40% of the world's economy right now, but they're also growing faster than anybody else. It does matter. Why does the BRICS pay system matter? Because it is completely separate from the existing dominant dollar-dominated world economic system. And somebody showed a screenshot that this BRICS pay, and they rolled it out. Right? They actually rolled out the beginning phases of this before the big BRICS summit. It's called the BRICS card. It's outside of the Western system. It's a cornerstone of payment systems that now these countries can even use amongst themselves. It's decentralized, meaning there's not one bank that dominates or controls what's going on with this system. It's innovative. It's convenient. It's also cheaper and faster. Right? Because if you're a BRICS country and you want to trade with another BRICS country, instead of having to buy dollars and deal with fees and all this, it's faster and it's also much cheaper for them. It's another major move away from the US dollar. And why is that important to you? I mean, I'm an American, right? Where is it? There's my self-waving American flag, right? We love our country. But as these countries move away from the dollar, it's real simple, guys. That means there's less demand for dollars. When there's less demand for something, the real value of it goes down. When the real value of the US dollar, and it's already been going down, remember, since 1971, it's lost like 98.5% of its value versus gold. But nonetheless, when the real value of the dollar continues to go down, right, that makes the real value of silver and gold continue to go up, right? And this is real, and they're working on this, and we could get some unbelievable news. Chris Marcus from Arcadia Economics reported this guy, Pepe Escobar, and I didn't realize this, but he's like really in tune with what's going on with the BRICS, and he said, get ready for some big announcements. And he has been spot on so far, basically, with most all of his predictions about what's going on with BRICS. So are you ready, Buttercup? Huh? You know, right? We don't like what's going on. I happen to live in America, but we're not going to keep our heads in the sand. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. All the while, I didn't realize this. Here's an interesting fact for you silver and gold investors. Germany is one of the world's biggest economies. Okay, BMW, Mercedes, Bayer, whatever. Anyway, and the Western economies are struggling, but I didn't realize this. Germany has now, their economy has shrunk, right, in 2023, and now they're predicting in 2024, these Western economies are shrinking. In real terms, I believe the U.S. economy is shrinking. I don't believe the data they put out. These BRICS countries are expanding. And again, it's so important because, guys, they're in a whole different world from us when it comes to precious metals. They know, right? They know. Just like our founding fathers knew, right? They know. Now, let's go out and take a quick look and see if the silver and gold price changed overnight, which it didn't, but we're going to press the Pembex magic button anyway. Look at that silver price, $33.74. Wow, I almost forgot. We did it. And we talked about this last week. I remember saying that this weekend, we'd either be at $34 silver or $29 silver. Well, we went to the upside, which is what we thought would happen. But at this point, we are very pleased with where that silver price is. I'm also really pleased that I have a great sponsor for Ron's Basement, Pembex. They make this possible. They facilitate us getting together, even here on a Sunday morning. Guys, if you want to get your hands on some silver, gold, platinum group metals, I will never tell you what to do. Okay, I will tell you what I believe, and I believe that Pembex is probably the best one-stop shop, the best option for getting your hands on some silver, gold, or platinum group metals. Their prices are always ultra competitive, and check that out for yourself. Okay, I checked the other day, one of the big online bullion dealers were selling I think it was 2024 American Silver Eagles, and the big online bullion dealer, the big guy, they were like $2 per coin more expensive, right? Look, do some comparison shopping. Absolutely. I've always found their prices are ultra competitive. They always have great selection. And number one, you got to work with a company you can trust. You can listen to me. I can give you my my experience, my truth with Pembex, which is I trust them 100%. I know the brothers that own the company. They're both CPAs. Okay. They're very smart guys, and they genuinely want to get the most metal they can in the hands of the stacking community. And thank you. Okay. Because I learned about Pembex from basement dwellers. Several of you reached out to me and told me to check them out. This was long before they sponsored the basement. Thank you, Pembex. And if you ever want to convert, time for me to preach at you for 1 second. Please, you can get yourself in some real danger, okay? If you ever decide to convert part or all of an IRA into precious metals, you can talk to the people that advertise on Fox News. You can talk to the people that are on CNN, the big high-paid celebrity endorsers convincing you to put all your money into silver and gold. I wouldn't recommend, I'm not giving financial advice, but never do everything all at once. But, you know, you do whatever you want. But what you do need to do is if you ever decide to convert that IRA, talk to a number of different options. Compare what they can actually do for you. Please make one of those options Pembex. And before you make a final decision, what I would highly recommend is see how many actual ounces of silver or gold. Let's say you're going to convert 20,000. How many actual ounces of silver and gold are you getting for that money? Compare amongst your different options. Then make your decision. I'll leave it at that. But I would highly recommend that you reach out to the guys at Pembex if you're going to do that. Okay. What about gold? This is crazy. You ready for some crazy time? You know, we talked about this with gold last year. The gold price hit all new all-time highs in all these foreign currencies. That's happening now in silver. It's reaching new all-time highs. And let me back up. Last year, we sat down here about a year ago and we looked at how gold was reaching new all-time highs in a number of different currencies all over the world. And we said it's only a matter of time till the dollar price for gold catches up. That happened. The same thing is happening now with silver. If we look at just one country, excuse me, one country as an example, this is astounding. Hold on here. Here we go. All right. And okay. This is a 5-year chart of gold in Australia. Look at this. And this is big news because in Australia, in Australian dollars, gold has gone above what did I do? Let's go back. There we go. Gold has gone above. Look on the right-hand side. Look on the left. 4,000 AUD at the top per ounce. Australian dollars per ounce. Gold has breached now $4,000 per ounce in Australia. Remember, we're comparing Fantasyland, fiat dollars, currency to each other, right? So there is a difference in value, obviously, or price between the US dollar and the Australian dollar. But nonetheless, right, this is exactly what happened in silver about what, 6 months? I'm sorry, gold 6 months, a year ago. Now, if we go to Australian dollars and look at silver, which should be the next chart. Yeah, look at this. So again, at the top, AUD, Australian dollars. You can see back, you know, their price back in 1980 got to about 30 an ounce, may have gone higher. This may be like a monthly chart or weekly chart. In 2011, it got all the way up here to probably 50-ish range. But now it is broken out. Australian dollar, silver, this is silver price. And this is what I call an upward slanting cup and handle. Do you see the cup? And then do you see the handle? But in Australian dollars, the silver price has absolutely broke out. And let's go take a look at what the current, hold on here. The current price, we're going to go on a little field trip here, boys and girls. I'm sure I got you on the right screen, which I do. Okay. Silver and AUD, Australian dollars. Here we go. We'll go to silverprice.org and see what they say. Sometimes this is tricky getting this to pull up. And again, the reason why we want to look at this, which is never going to pull up. So let's go down over here and see where else we can get a market index, today's price and charts. Here we go. Looks like $50.58, but let's look. That's in US dollars. Boy, it never works the way it should, does it, guys? We'll try one more time. Well, nonetheless, gold bullion Australia. Let's go. There we go. Australian dollars, $50.62. Silver's broken out in Australia. And I believe I'm accurate. Gold, Australia. All right, we have gold above 4,000. Here, silver, Australia. Thank Lord. Here we go. Look at that. Yes. Okay. Wow. Let's look at all the data. Yes, that's an all-time high over there, guys. Do you see that? Okay. Now, this is the handle. We don't have enough data, but remember, there's the cup over here from 2011, and this is the handle in Australian dollars. This is exactly what happened, and that's why this is exactly what happened in the gold market 9 months ago, and it's happening right now in the silver market. Heck, you know what? We are going to get $44 silver by Christmas, and next year we'll be above $45. It's happening. It's happening everywhere. One of our viewers sent me this from Canada just to show you how crazy the prices are getting. And this is the original text that he sent me. Okay. He said, "Hey, Ron, I just noticed that in Canada, the preferred silver maples," this was on Friday when the silver price was up by like $1. So this is now not accurate. It's even more extreme. The preferred silver maples in Canada are now just 7 cents away from $50 Canadian dollars for one coin. That's a real psychological hump to get over. I wonder if it will happen today. And it did happen today. As you can see here, what he had sent me, we've got the 2024 1-ounce silver maple leaf at the time was selling for $49.93 Canadian. It did break through that. Okay. And think about, again, an example of how other countries in the world, Canada, Australia, I'm sure India, China, the silver price is at or near all-time highs. I remember when the Canadian dollar and the US dollar were almost at parity. That wasn't so long ago, was it? Right? When it was basically one Canadian dollar to one US dollar. That wasn't that long ago. And right now, if you want to buy, where is it? I think I have one. Well, no, this is a UK Britannia. Let's do a little show and tell. Still one of my favorite coins. I love silver. Don't you love silver? That's a UK Britannia. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? How shiny that is. I like the back of the Britannias. I think they sell these on Pinback's website, by the way. Come on, focus. Cameras have a hard time focusing on silver. Well, anyway, it's selling for record levels in foreign countries. It's going to happen here. And it's not that far off. Okay. Okay. What about the presidential election? Let's go out here and talk about, I had another comment from a subscriber. See if I can find this one for you. Here we go. That's my house. That's the roof. Oh, we'll go back to that one. Here we go. MJill 1960 says silver will hit $45 by Christmas, $150 by the 4th of July if Harris wins. Unfortunately, that 150 will hold no value. Hold your silver and gold. Get out of the stock market. I happen to agree with that. Silver, they're saying, and gold. Let's talk about the presidential election. This is not a political show, but we have a big election coming up in just a few weeks. The price of silver and gold, you start to think, what if Kamala wins? What if Trump wins? What are the reactions in the markets going to be? I think that if the Democrats prevail, we're going to have a crazy increase in the silver and gold price right away. I think if Trump wins, that the reaction could be more muted because he's considered to be pro crypto at this point. Neither one is addressing the elephant in the room, which will drive the dollar down. And we heard that from Niels earlier. And we're hearing that from the smart people. Like, neither candidate is talking about the deficit. Neither candidate is talking about the national debt. Neither candidate is really talking about de-dollarization and how the U.S. dollar essentially is circling the drain, right? It's in a kind of a doom whirlpool at this point due to the simple mathematics of how the debt is exploding and how the deficit continues to explode, which is going to make the debt explode more, which is going to make the interest payments explode more. You know the cycle. We've talked about it. We're in that doom cycle right now. And we got to remember this, okay? Gold and silver, again, aren't necessarily going up in value, although they are. But what's really going on is the dollar going down in value. Remember, in 1971, $40, 40. You probably have $40. Take it out, two $20 bills. That would buy you an ounce of gold in 1971. $40. That same $40 today, right, will buy you 1.5% of an ounce of gold. Like, what is that? 1/70th of an ounce of gold. That's how much value those dollars have lost, right? The gold didn't change. It's the dollars that changed, the dollars that lost value. That's why it's so critical that when you think about your silver and gold, that we think about it in terms of ounces, okay? You got an ounce of silver over here, okay? And you've got paper over there. They can print as much paper as they want. If you think about what changed since 1971, the reason why that gold, and you can do the same as probably essentially with silver, maintained its value is because they created paper money out of nothing, out of thin air, okay? Out of thin air. Right now. And they're going to try to fool you. Did you hear this week? The European Union cut interest rates. They cut interest rates. So the euro is going down, blah, blah, blah. You got gold and silver over here, the real McCoy, right? And you got all the paper money over here, and they're all really like my fingers, right? This is the dollar. This is the euro. This is the yen. This is the Chinese yuan. And they're all living in fantasy land, and this goes up and this goes down, blah, 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 blah. They print. The reality is all this, and over here is gold and silver, and it just keeps, it's like a teeter-totter. They're over here, oh, the dollar's up, the dollar's down, the euro, blah, and gold and silver maintain their value. There's no other way. And I got a big warning, massive warning about the real estate market coming up. Okay, guys. First, I want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold. They also make this live stream possible. First Mining Gold is a Canadian gold developer with 2 multi-million-ounce projects in Canada. Do you want gold in the ground? First Mining Gold has gold in the ground. They're a development stage company. They're working through the permitting process. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. And our friends at Fortuna Mining, they have gold and silver mines in Latin America producing gold and silver right now as we speak. And they have major mining operations in West Africa, which is a booming area for gold mining. Think about that right now, right? That company, they are digging up silver and gold. Very difficult process. And if there's a company that's got it down pat, I'd say it's Fortuna. You can learn more about them at fortunamining.com. Big warning for you about the real estate market. But before we do that, We got a few minutes left here. Critical, one more critical thing we got to do. Okay. I lied. I apologize, but we got to go look at it because we look at it every day, guys. Here's our debt clock. And here, look at that. We're almost now to 30. We just got to 35 trillion. We're almost to 36 trillion. As this number grows, follow the yellow brick road. Follow my cursor. As this grows, the interest on the debt, okay? And we're almost to $1 trillion per year. We're now spending more on debt than we are on the national defense, and soon we'll be spending more on debt than we are on Social Security and Medicare. But nonetheless, as the debt number grows and interest rates, and nobody wants to buy the debt, interest rates continue to go up, we got to pay more to get people to buy the debt. That makes the interest expense, which we get nothing for, go up and up. But that interest expense feeds into this number, the U.S. federal budget deficit, which is exploding, $2 trillion per year. And guess where that goes? Well, that gets lopped onto the U.S. national debt. So this is a debt spiral, and it's only getting worse. Let's run over here quickly. And look at that. The dollar to silver ratio. Now we're at 731. Yesterday we were at 729. For each 1 ounce of silver being produced, each 1 ounce, for all the silver in the entire world that's being produced this year, for each one of those ounces of silver, the U.S. government is creating over $730 in paper money via the M2 money supply. Big warning, guys. Big warning. And then I got to give you a big tip where you can go next. But big warning right now. We're in a situation, I think the real estate market is crashing. Do you own a house? I do, right? A lot of you do. Maybe you're looking at buying a house. I think that we could be in massive trouble in the residential real estate market. And let me show you why right here, because I laugh a little bit as I say this, but if St. Louis, I live in St. Louis, by the way, is the nation's fastest selling housing market is St. Louis, report says. This is according to, I think, Zillow. St. Louis area homes spent a median of 7 days on the market in September before going under contract. On a serious note, I'm telling you, if St. Louis is the hottest real estate market in the country, that's not a real good sign, okay? That would, to me, would mean, because we're always kind of the last real estate market to catch the wave up, and I think we're kind of the last to feel the crash. I got a feeling that we could be having some serious trouble in real estate markets in places like California, Florida, and whatnot. Because if St. Louis is the world's nation's hottest real estate market, we're in big trouble. Hey guys, don't forget. Here, let me show you real quick. This is going to be fast. I unboxed one of the DirtyMan safes last night, but look at this. This is the next biggest one. Look how big this thing is. The big dirty man. I think this is the dirty old man. Remember, you can save, you can buried treasure in your backyard. Okay, cool. Look at this. I got the little dirty man. Where is it? Up there, right by the Platinum Bear. But I mean, this thing's big. This one's big. That's the dirty girl. That's small. Pretty interesting. I like this idea of buried treasure in the yard, right? That immune from fire, everything. And where did the pirates, what'd they do with their silver? They buried it. That guy in Denmark that found, 85,000 silver coins buried. I like this idea of having something buried that only I know about. Only I know where it is. I do have a discount code on those, RON10, RON 10. There's a link in the description of the video. Hey, go to Bald Guy Money right now. He's got a new video coming out in just a few minutes. Bald Guy Money. A lot of you follow him already. He's a great guy, a great friend of the channel. And in like 2 minutes, he's got a new video coming out. He only puts out a video once a week. They're shorter than mine, and they're just packed with great information. He's a great friend of the channel. Go over there and tell him you're from the basement. Say hello. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you. All right, and I will see you soon. Thank you to the moderators, Big Tim the Silver Shire, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, the one and only Jake, the one and only Annie Oakley. Have a great day. Thank you. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the silver and gold market open up tonight. Be prepared for anything.